Hello, Laverne here, and thank you for joining me. May this video be a blessing to you, and may it honor and glorify God and His kingdom. In my last video, which I'll provide a link to, I explained that the water coming from the mouth of the dragon in Revelation 12 is actually a flood of lies that Satan tries to destroy the church with. I explained in that video that the times and a half is actually a period of 175 years, that being 3.5 Jubilee years. I explained in that video that I came to the conclusion of what the water is coming from the mouth of the dragon based on the writings of the Damascus document. For in the Damascus document we find a description of water coming from the mouth of false prophets. And the water is used to describe the lies coming from the mouth of false prophets. In the one case, explaining it as being the man of mockery. So we see in the Damascus document that the man of mockery, a false prophet, spews forth lies. That lies are described as water coming from the mouth of false prophets. And that's exactly what we see happening in Revelation 12. The dragon trying to drown the woman with a flood of lies. But the woman is protected for a period of times and a half. Now in this video I would like to look at a couple other instances in the book of Revelation where it describes water. It's very important that we understand the meaning behind the water that is described. For it is in understanding the meaning of the waters that we are able to understand who the beast is and who the prostitute is, and this is extremely important. In this video, I'm going to begin this section by looking at Revelation 13. And I'm reading from the King James Bible, beginning with verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea. So I'm going to be coming back and explaining what this sea is that the beast is coming up out of. Having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon, who of course is Satan, gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. Now this 42 months works out to 1260 days. But in prophecy terms, it is actually 1260 years, which I'm also going to be coming back to. Now, I'm going to skip a bit and go on to Revelation 17, beginning with verse 1. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. So again, we have the use of the term of waters here. I'm going to skip a bit now to verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. This description of purple and scarlet is important. And again, this is something I'm going to come back to. For it's going to become very clear who is being talked about here. Verse 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. So it's talking about this woman, this great prostitute, having the blood of the saints on her hands. Verse 7. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore dost thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. And the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. Excuse me. Just to repeat that. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Skipping on to verse 11. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. Okay, I'm going to stop here for a moment. This is describing a beast that did exist at one time, and then no longer existed, and then came into being again. So we have a description of one of the 7 beasts. And if we know who the 7 beasts are, we can then determine that the 8th beast, the final beast, is one of those 7 original beasts. And what we see is that this beast existed at one time, then it did not exist, which refers, or which is also explained with one of the heads being wounded and then healed. So we have the 7 beasts, one is wounded and then healed. It was, then it was not, and then it is again. And he reigns for a period of 1260 years. Now, just one last passage. Verse 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest were where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So this is telling us that the waters where this great prostitute rules are in fact people. Excuse me. It's multitudes of people and nations and different tongues. So what we have is a picture of this great prostitute, this woman, who is carried by the beast. So the beast supports or carries this great prostitute, and this prostitute rules over many nations and peoples. This is what the waters refer to. Well, it so happens that the Catholic Church calls the waters that it rules over, the people and the masses that it rules over, as seas. So the Catholic Church rules over seas, multitudes of people. That is what is being depicted here. The Catholic Church, the woman also is described as wearing purple and scarlet, which is the color of what the cardinals and bishops wear. The colors of the Roman Catholic Church. So we have the woman ruling over the waters just as it's described here, and that the waters are masses of people. We are told that the beast which supports the woman rules for a period of 1260 years, but that this beast was and then wasn't. So it is one of the beasts who existed at one time, but his head was wounded and then healed. Well, this describes the Roman Empire. It also describes the Roman Catholic Church. For in the year 800 AD, the Pope crowned a new Roman emperor, and the new Holy Roman Empire was re-established. So we had the Roman Empire, which shortly after Constantine was destroyed. It was wounded. The beast, which is the Roman Empire, was wounded. But then in the year 800 AD, it was resurrected with the help of the Pope, with the help of the Roman Catholic Church. The Holy Roman Empire being re-established as the 8th beast. That was in the year 800 AD. Well, 1260 years after this period comes to the year, I'm sure you can guess it, 2060, which is not too far in the future. So the Holy Roman Empire, with the help of the Catholic Church, the great prostitute, rules for 1260 years, which will take us to the year 2060. Now, I'd like to go back to where the beast comes up out of. As I explained, the Roman Catholic Church rules over the masses, and that it calls them sees that it rules over. In verse 13, chapter 13, going back to it, describing how the beast comes up out of the sea. Sorry, I'll begin with verse 1 again. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, etc., etc. This describes the birth of the Holy Roman Empire. The Holy Roman Empire came up out of one of the seas that the Roman Catholic Church ruled over. To be a Roman or a Holy Roman Emperor, you had to be Roman Catholic. The Pope had to crown you. That's what we see happening here. This beast coming up out of the sea is coming up out of the waters that the prostitute rules over. And that's exactly what happened in the year 800 AD. The 8th beast, who was one of the 7, was resurrected. He was mortally wounded. And the world marveled at the Roman Empire being re-established. So these waters, the sea that the beast comes up out of, is coming up out of from the waters that the Catholic Church rules over. The Holy Roman Empire supported the Roman Catholic Church, helped it survive, supported it. That being the beast that holds up, that supported, that the prostitute rode on. The colors of the prostitute match the colors of the Catholic Church. It is built on 7 hills. And the Vatican is built on the 7 hills. Rome is built on 7 hills. The entire depiction that we are given here of the great prostitute and the beast is the Roman Empire and the Catholic Church. This is why I say it's important to understand what these waters are in every instance. In the instance of the flood coming from the mouth of the dragon, where this beast is coming up out of, where this prostitute is ruling, what the waters are that the prostitute rules. All of these things point to the beast being the new Roman Empire and the prostitute being the Catholic Church. And the lies that I talked about in the previous video, the lies that we were protected from for 175 years, that have now taken root, that began to take root back around 170 AD. And it is after that point that we see all the lies that come from the Catholic Church. We see that the Catholic Church persecuted and hunted and killed Christians under the empire of Constantine. Under Constantine, Christians were hunted and killed. One such sect was known as the Donatists. The Catholic Church persecuted and killed the Donatists. This was the beginning of the bloodshed of the martyrs by the Catholic Church, and it continued for centuries. For centuries, the Catholic Church persecuted and killed Christians, martyred them. So my brothers and sisters, I hope that this will open your eyes to what has been going on, that we must look at the things that have taken place since 170 AD. For example, the canonization of the Bible. For it is under the Catholic Church that we were given the Bible that we have today. They are the ones that canonized it, and the church at that point was corrupt. The lies of Satan were allowed to take root after the period of protection. Alright, as always, I look forward to comments and messages. Till next time, peace and blessings.